Hey world, welcome to the Sherese Nicole podcast. I created this space where I'll discuss life lessons, personal stories, observations, unsolicited advice, and ramblings that go on in my chattering mind. Every so often, I will pull in guests to provide different perspectives and discuss a range of topics from nutrition to travel and all things in between. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today, I'm joined by a special guest. He is a business owner, entrepreneur, and a health enthusiast like myself. His name is Brian Mays. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. So if you can, please give my listeners a rundown of who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Brian Mays, currently an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of a business called Smile Natural Products. And we're a vegan-friendly, socially conscious business. I say socially conscious. We just try to run our business intentionally. We're also an eco-free business. We don't use plastic in any of our packaging, and then we also commit a certain percentage of our profits towards community building activities. I'm Brian Mays, current LA resident, entrepreneur, and aspiring community builder.
So tell me about how you got into doing what you do for Smile Natural Products. What were you doing before this?
Yeah, so I was before I started my business, I was living in New York, was living in Brooklyn, and in Crown Heights area. I was working at a job downtown New York. I was a head of sales for a company that did targeted marketing, a company called AppCard. And I was with that company for about 3 years, about 2 years around the time where I started Smile. And, I'd had previous entrepreneurial ventures in the past. And really what led me to founding the company was more so some lifestyle changes that I was making. And around that time, I'd gone vegan and was just looking for ways to more consciously consume. And I started making my own products. I was reading a lot of labels at the time, just very mindful of things that I was putting in my body. And I started making toothpaste, and randomly, right after learning about fluoride, I'm just kind of a nerd when it comes to these things, anything around natural products, or just nature in general. And just doing some research. Long story short, ended up making my own toothpaste. Gave it to some people. They really liked it, and from there, I thought I had something viable in terms of, hey, you know what? This is something that everybody needs. This is something that I can feel good about. This is something that is a necessity, an essential product, and that was kind of my focus with it. And once I kind of made that decision to do it, I also was reading something at the time. I was on my commute one day, and I was reading this book about some of the Black Panther programs and some of the things that they were doing. And I was reading about how they were funding a free breakfast program with their newspaper, selling newspaper in the community, the Black Panther newspaper. And reading that at the time and having this idea of starting this business, it gave me the idea to incorporate a giving component into my business. I was born in Oakland, California, so I've always been very partial to Black Panthers and some of the work that they were doing in terms of community building. And for me, it really kind of started as a passion project. When we launched the brand, I partnered with a teacher who I met through the Urban League. I was in the Urban League in New York at the time, and decided to fundraise and be able to launch this business by giving back to the community. And we sold about, I think, 1,000 toothpaste tins, and we were able to buy 100 families in the project school supplies. And that's kind of really what launched Smile. And after that, it was just really well received, got great feedback on things. decided to really keep going with it. And yeah, that's kind of the beginning of Smile.
Was that like behind your move? Because you lived in New York, you said, and then
Yep.
now you're in LA. Was that like a part of like, I guess,
Oh yeah,
scaling the brand?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I was actually laid off from that job. Packed up all my stuff, left my apartment, and bought a one way to Los Angeles. Yeah, I've been here ever since. Building a Smile. I got a job for a little bit. I thought I might have to work for a little bit to save a little bit of money, and then shortly after starting, I was like, you know what, I'm not. I'm just gonna go full force with this. And then
Mhm.
I opened up a store downtown LA.
So I saw that, you unfortunately went through a mishap with the Smile Space, like the retail
Yeah,
storefront.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, how did that make you feel? Because, I feel like, for myself anyways, I have a picture in mind. I know how I want it to look, and then
Yeah.
you're like life throws you a curveball. So how did you manage rebalancing, getting back on your feet?
Um, one of our team members was staying late, packing some orders to get some orders out for the next day, and they lit some incense. I think it was one of those situations where you don't like fully blow it out. And then, long story short, um, we had mud cloths for sale. Mud cloths caught fire. There's a table
Mm,
that caught fire. We lost some
damn.
merchandise and some clothing, but nothing that couldn't be replaced. And at this point, it was like maybe like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. I got a text from my neighbor at the business, guy next door to me, and he said it looked smoky there. We ran down. I saw it, and I was with the same team member who started the fire, and she was pretty distraught once she
Yeah.
kind of realized what happened, and I didn't really have much of a reaction. It was just one of those things where you know one, I was just too exhausted to just be like to
Yeah.
care too much, just because we've been going so much the last few days. And you know, I remember she was on the phone, she called someone and she was just like, are you okay? Okay. And then somebody was asking about me and they were saying how I was like, I'm not even reacting to it. And I think for me, like, it's not that I expect bad things to happen, but like
Hmm.
in this journey of entrepreneurship, like things just happen. And although you can plan for the best, although everything can be going great, like things just happen.
Yeah.
And I don't view these, I didn't view that event as like, oh, this, my initial reaction was, okay, what's next? How do we move forward? Like,
Right.
and yeah, I could sit there and, complain and ask why me and do all these things. But at the end of the day, that's just more time that I'm getting away from solving the problem. And so we started to, pick up the pieces and figure things out.
Mm.
And it worked out as it always does. In fact, it was really a blessing in disguise for us in a lot of different ways, because some people, friends of mine and just people I know, we're kind of sharing our story with what happened with the fire. And, we got a lot more exposure. That was a
Hmm.
record month for me,
Wow.
and had I been in a position to just wallow in self-pity and, just kind of sit on my hands about it, then I don't think there's any way that we would have had that month that we've had. And that was
Hmm.
really looking at our growth since that event. Like we've been growing every week, every week, every week. And this month, we just ended the month. We just hit our goal. In these moments, like sometimes when some of these things happen, like I try not to react until I see the whole picture. And I think how things have worked out, it's been clear that that wasn't for me. And one thing that I've just learned through trial and error, one, don't force anything. Um, what's for you is going to be for you. In fact, we just put up a post about this on our Instagram
Yeah.
today. What's for you is for you. I don't cry about anything that I felt like I missed out on, or I didn't get this thing, because I know in time what's meant for me will be for me. And
Hmm.
I think because I can go into things with that mindset, that's what allows me to not have that kind of knee jerk reaction when
Hmm.
some of these difficult things happen. But this isn't for the weak-hearted. This is something that you're going to constantly be tested, and I'm grateful for it. This business, the most, has definitely tested me the most, and it's really caused me to develop myself in order to help take things to various levels.
Crazy. I think I've been hearing a lot of stories about people discovering blessings COVID
Yeah, yeah,
time. And who would think, right? You think that for
yeah,
businesses, for entrepreneurs, this would be like a
hmm
time to scramble, but
yeah,
like blessings have come in this time, which is a great thing, a beautiful thing. So you
yeah,
mentioned that you're very quick at reacting. Like you can't just kind of wallow in pity and like, oh, what
yeah,
didn't happen. You
yeah,
just instead have to kind of flip that switch and be like, okay, so what can we do? And I like to have that
hmm
type of approach to just like life in general. But
hmm
how did you think you developed that? Was it through your entrepreneurialism, or do you
Oh,
think that, like in life you're like that as well? Like how did you develop it?
I love solving problems. I like playing puzzles. I love strategizing, and I kind of have this viewpoint of all of this as it's a game, more or less. I've almost come to, because I've had so many situations to where I've just gone through so many difficulties in life.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to expect it, and so because I expect that things don't go as planned, I know that there's another way to get to where I'm trying to get to, and having that understanding that this challenge, this next challenge that I'm faced with, there is a solution out of it. The process of entrepreneurship is finding problems to solution to challenges. Like, it is a constant challenge. It's a different challenge. It's a variation of the same challenge. But these things are just along the path,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's really what led me to entrepreneurship, is knowing that if I can solve problems, I can do well, and I can get the
Mm-hmm.
things that I want for myself.
So actually something that just came to mind. So, as an entrepreneur and now you have a team, you're a leader. You're basically a
Yep.
leader. You have a team. How many people are on your team?
Now we have, as of last week, we have 6 people on our team.
And that's like a pretty big deal. How do you motivate your team?
I think right now, my team works hard.
Mm-hmm.
My team works really hard. I try to lead from the trenches. I would never ask anybody to do anything I haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't feel any task or anything that needs to be done is beneath me as it relates to getting something done. I'm willing to jump in and be the first one to do something before I ask someone else to do it. And I think that has earned some of the respect from my team, but also being with them and them kind of being able to see my work ethic is, I think, one of the things that is reflective of us as an organization. And I am so grateful for the team that I have now. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
long process to find the team that I have now. And I will tell, like, I feel that is my greatest asset right now, and us growing and um, meeting new goals and just accomplishing a lot of things is the team. Like, the people that you surround yourself with is so important,
Yeah.
um, for your mental, your energy, uh, spiritually. Just being around people that can uplift you, that are recharging and not draining. And I feel like I really have a lot of those people on my team, and it keeps it's like that extra battery pack,
Mhm.
having this solid team that I know I can count on. It's been huge.
So I know with like, or I can only assume, I'm a content creator, which I guess you can
Hmm.
kind of consider an entrepreneur,
True.
but this journey can be a little lonely, and especially for me, like, not all my friends, my close friends are not doing
Hmm.
what I'm doing. So,
Yeah.
when I'm like, when they're asking me what am I doing on the weekend and I'm saying things like, well, no, I gotta like do an interview. And they're like,
Yeah.
they don't get it. So
Yeah.
for entrepreneurship, I can just imagine like maybe I don't know what your friendship circle is like, but
Hmm.
there's probably not people that understand your grind the same way as you do.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
throughout this journey, and you talked about, your circle has to be one that uplifts you and motivates
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like, did you have to lose friends? Like, how did you
Oh
navigate your
yeah.
circle of friends and even family sometimes?
Oh yeah.
What kind
Oh
of
yeah.
changes did you have to do there?
I love people, love being around people, love talking to people, love learning from people. But I'm generally, a person who likes to spend a lot of time alone. And I think I enjoy my own company. And I think this is one of the things that makes it easier for me. But, you're absolutely right. Like this is very, very lonely. I
Mm.
was working on Smile for the first year and a half, just me. And then my first bit of help was outside of maybe some friends who helped out was an intern. I remember her and I going to be great friends, right? Because even still to this day, because she just one, not have anybody to talk to about all these ideas and bounce these, you can develop a great relationship with this person. But all I wanted to talk about was the business, and this was somebody who was willing to talk about all the business stuff with me.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a very lonely road. I have had to make a lot of sacrifices, miss a lot of events. Some people don't understand it because they haven't experienced entrepreneurship or they haven't gone down that
Yep.
path, and it does require a great deal of sacrifice, and then staying sane, right? If you're
Yeah.
working a job and then also starting a business, and now you've put all your energy, you've put 40 hours over here, then you've put another 20 hours into building your business, and then that leaves little time to take care of yourself. And more recently, I've just grown and feeling comfortable with making time for myself so that I can be more present when I am spending time with friends or family. The people that I connect with the most now are generally people who are experiencing this kinds of things that I'm doing, and I think those shared experiences are what generally define relationships in a lot of cases, like
Hmm.
relationships outside of your family. Doing things, you have shared interests, and as your priorities change and where you're spending time change, your circles just it's going to change out of necessity.
Naturally, I feel like
Yeah.
there's things that you do, and I find that like when it comes to self-care, self-love, or anything like
Hmm.
that, we have to
Yeah.
be so aware and conscious of it. And like
Yeah.
being busy all the time and always having your phone by you is something that
Yeah.
can easily slip by. I think
Yeah.
for myself, again, I'm on this self-realization,
Yeah.
self-actualization journey where
Yeah.
I'm understanding like, okay, this is what I need to do in order to like pull myself back down to earth. So what for
Mhm.
you is your self-care routine? What do you do to keep yourself in check?
I like to be creative. I like to do things with my hands. I think when I was building the store out, I put up all the fixtures and felt like something was missing. So I went out and got some plants, not really knowing a lot about plants, and that was something that was bringing me some solace. It made the space a little bit more welcoming, but also
Yeah.
just kind of learning for the plants, watering the plants, taking care of them.
I love
It
plants.
yeah, yeah, it kind of gave me something. um, it felt metaphorical for what I was building and caring
Mhm.
for this thing, and being able to see this thing physically grow because of the care that I put into it. I felt like was similar to what I was doing with the
Yep.
business, and just going into that and watering these things with intention is one thing that's kind of brought me centered, or just building things, doing
Mhm.
things that I like to treat myself with new experiences. I love new experiences because I love to learn new things. I like to gain new perspectives. So, sometimes I'll buy myself a book and just put my phone on do not disturb and ignore everybody while I read my book. I'll start, tinkering with some stuff. I'll build like a random little side table or something. Just finding those things that, yeah, bring me peace, and trying to stay creative, because I feel like that also, while that's kind of recharging for me, and
Mhm.
also manifests itself in the business as well.
Mhm. No, that's cool, and I'd say that's how you meditate, really, right? Because like if you're
Yeah.
building something, you're so in the moment that
active
you're
active
just
meditation. Yeah.
yeah, and that kinda helps recharge you. I know that you've built a following, you have more customers now with you.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you keep going? What makes you like wake up every day and want to continue working on your business?
I think it's looking for the victories. Looking for the victories. It's easy to start a business and say, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to do this thing that I love. And one day I'm going to be rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much in between. There's a
Yeah.
huge gap between starting and defining for what most people is successful. So I stay sane by making small goals. I love the feeling of crossing that task off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to write things down and I love checking them off. So I like to set small goals. Getting those small wins gives me that reminder that like every day I'm getting better. Every day the business is progressing. Every day my goals are expanding, and it gives me a way to hold myself accountable for the progress that I make and recognize it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy to look at these huge conglomerate businesses and say, well, I want to be like them one day, but I'm so
Yep.
far from that.
Yeah.
But having the understanding that every day I'm working towards that, being forgiving of myself when I miss a mark,
Mm-hmm.
or something didn't go as planned. That definitely helps keep me motivated. And then again, having the right people around me, having the right team, a team that's happy and motivated to do what they do, that just, all those things coming together, makes it easy
Mm-hmm.
to do something that's very hard.
Having a team behind you because that's your foundation, right? Your team, and they
Yep.
help your product grow to what it
Yeah.
is. So having some like a team like that behind you that's backed by your product and your vision, that's
Hmm.
very key. So you're very lucky.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to like anyone who wants to start a business? What
Yeah.
advice would you give them? And it doesn't even have to be like you have to have this and that, but like
Hmm.
mental like mindset.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give them?
Sure. I would say to spend some time really understanding what your goal is very specifically and why that's important to you. Um, because you're going to be tested so much. If you want to do something for a bullshit reason, it's not going to work out. You have to be willing to put everything into this. You need to understand for yourself why you're willing to do that. Because if not, you're just not going to do it. Um, there's going to be so many sacrifices that you have to make on a day-to-day basis, on a monthly basis. You have to be willing to sacrifice relationships, and not that you have to live this life that's so far out of balance, but you have to be committed, you have to be disciplined. So understanding some of the people who are doing some of the things that you want to do, really taking the time to invest to see what they did to get there, I think is number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to understand for yourself what that's going to look like, what is going to be that thing that motivates you, and doing something that you feel is in your purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's like, for me, I cannot quit, because I truly believe that this is my purpose. I've seen things that have confirmed that for me. It has to be something that you're passionate about, and has to be something that you're willing to sacrifice everything for. And if you're not willing to make it your life's work, then don't waste your time. Wait for that thing.
Yeah.
Invest the time to really do some soul searching, throw out all of those fears about what if I fail? What if the people around me don't support me? Because that's gonna happen. People that you expect to support you is not gonna happen. Throwing out the fear of, what if I do make it? Am I gonna have to make some changes to my life? What if I'm not doing the thing that my parents want me to do, or my family wants me to do? Throw away all of that, and then ask yourself, is this what I want to do? And I think once you have that, and you're willing to put the time to invest in what I need to do to be successful, and you understand what people who came before you did to be successful in the capacity that you'd like to, you got a blueprint. And then
Mm.
from there, you make small, palatable goals that you can pat yourself on the back for, but also hold yourself accountable for growth as well.
Mm.
And if you have that, then there's no stopping you. I think one thing that's important is one thing that I struggle with is at times um, is running your own race. You know, you can feel like you're more qualified than some people. You can feel like you work harder. You can feel like you have a better idea. You can feel like your thing is the thing that
Mm-hmm.
changes the world. But understanding that your race and your path is unique to you is freeing. It's very freeing
Mm-hmm.
when you've been working hard for time, you feel like your time hasn't come. Understanding that if you're moving in purpose for what you're supposed to be doing, that it's going to work out. And then it becomes a not if but when.
Mm-hmm.
So critical, especially now, right? We see Instagram and we're constantly reminded of, we only see the successes. We're not seeing the pitfalls. We're not seeing the challenges. Nobody's posting their L's.
Yep.
Understanding that your race is unique to you, and going into things with that mindset, and with the mindset that it's already yours. It's just a matter of time. I think is one of the most freeing things that you can do before you start on the path of entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And just life,
Yeah, and
just
in life,
be uniquely yourself and being okay with that. Yeah.
absolutely.
What is next for you, Brian Mays and Smile Natural Products?
In the next year, I'm saying this now, that we are focused on distribution in a major retailer or major retailers across the country. That's what we're focused on right now. We are gearing up to really ramp up our manufacturing and just be fully vertically integrated in our business in terms of production, and um, and helping a lot of people on the way. We founded the business on giving back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm started, been in LA for about a year now, and I'm starting to do some networking and looking for ways to effectively community build as we're growing as well. And that's kind of really what our roadmap is over the next year. You'll be seeing us in stores sometime soon. I'm
In
calling that
Toronto,
now. I'm owning that. I hope so. I hope so.
or at least some
Um,
shipping to Toronto.
yeah, absolutely. Shipping to Toronto is coming very soon. We'll absolutely
Okay.
have that
All right.
by next week. By next week,
Oh,
you heard
oh,
it here
quick.
first.
Quick turnaround. All right. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time to, hop on my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where can people keep in contact with you?
You can check us out, Smile Natural Products on Instagram. My personal page is smile_Brian Mays. And then, definitely check out our website, feelsgoodtosmile.com. All your essential products. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. And until next time.